Hi, I'm Cutler with Freedom Fitness here at Fitworks to talk to you about bodyweight exercises. So the first thing I want to go over is just some proper squatting techniques. And squatting might seem simple until we actually slow it down and break it down a little bit. Squatting is simply sitting down. So as we sit down to the side. But it's actually one of the first movements children do when they first stand up. And they'll roll forward and squat up. Okay. So a lot of the times people have problems with their squatting technique. There's a few things you really want to keep in mind. You really want to make sure that your hips are moving. Your hips are moving backwards as your knees are bending, as opposed to just bending at the knee. I'll demonstrate what we don't want to see with a squatting technique. This is the knees just shooting forward and the hips staying stationary. You're going to end up in a really unstable position here. Hard on the knees, ankles, hips. What we want to do is have our hips go backwards before our knees break down. There, hips backwards, then knees bend as we're sitting down. Now, it might be difficult at first for people because of balance and mobility. So what we'd like to do is use a chair. So, as I was saying, when we're just learning how to do this movement, and we're starting from standing as opposed to seated position, often what happens is that people's knees bend forward and then they round their back, so they're coming this way, very unstable. We want to keep the back up and the hips to go back. So as I said, using a seat teaches this technique really quickly actually, because you have the confidence to actually drive your hips back. You're not going to fall down and hit your head or anything. So we sit back and come back up. So, we sit back, putting the pressure on our heels, drive up through our heels. You don't need a proper bench for this. You can use any type of chair. You could even use a couch. Anything that's sturdy that you can sit down on and stand back up on, stand back up in front of will work. Park bench, whatever. So we're just hips go back, stand back up. I'll move this way. And now as you see, same movement, hips go back, hips up. Okay, so that's a very basic squat. There's variations on the squat that we can do, such as keeping our feet narrow, toes pointed forward. When we're squatting from this position, we're going to put a lot more emphasis on the front of the legs or the quadriceps. This is a good exercise for skiing, water skiing, anything that we're doing a squatting position, trying to stay straight forward. Now, a little bit more stable position is to open the legs up, point the toes out. Larger base here. From here, sitting back, same thing. But we're going to get more emphasis on the hamstrings and the glutes. Okay. Now, this squatting position is the same as what we may have heard of as a deadlift. But as with a squat, we're going to start from the top, back, forward. With a deadlift, we're going to start from the ground, stand up. Okay? This is the proper way to pick something up off the ground. So, I want you to think of these two movements as actually the same movement, but your arms are in different positions, or we're holding a weight in different positions. To give you an example, using a kettlebell, if we were squatting from this position, we'll hold it in front of us like this. Call this a goblet squat. My hands look like a goblet. Holding the weight against our chest, squatting down. Now my point about the deadlifting is, this is actually the same movement, but we start at the bottom and we stand up. Same movement. Okay. We'll look at variations of deadlifts after, but we'll continue to do some squatting. Another form of squatting, it's a bit more advanced, is a one-legged squat. Some people call it a pike. Of course, now you have to handle most of your body weight on one leg. You're not going to get the same range of motion. I'll let myself drop till I fall just to show you the stability is a lot different. I didn't fall, but managed to do it. You can see it's a lot more challenging. However, you can get the benefits of squatting on one leg by lunging. So, go through a few lunging variations. Thing with a lunge, similar to a squat, we don't want to step out so short that we overshoot our knee and we're in this weird position. I'm going to step out, so we have about a 90-degree angle here. Okay, so very basic lunge, step forward, step back. Now, when we just do it like that, we're kind of pushing off the quadricep, but we're also using our hamstring to pull the leg back. We can make it a more dynamic exercise by putting a power push, what I like to call power push off the front leg. So we bend down, push off the front leg. We're really taking the hamstring out of it now, putting more emphasis on the quad. Anybody with knee injuries or anything, this is a great exercise to strengthen the muscles around your knee. Okay, basic forward lunge. A little bit more challenging is backward lunge. See, I lost my stand. Take it slow, bend both knees, step forward. And again, you can make it a bit more dynamic by giving it a good push off the back foot. Okay. Also side lunging. Diagonal lunging. Forward lunging. And of course, backward lunging. Okay, make lunging a bit more advanced. We can do a walking lunge. Forward. And walking lunge backwards. The most advanced version of lunge would be a jumping lunge. Careful not to bang your rear knee when landing. That concludes lower body free weight exercises.